Hi Muses! I wanted to quickly come on and chat with you, as always, because I love me some talking and sharing, and when I get an idea and a wisdom hit or a download or insights, my job is to share it with you and to make sure you know about it too, and to know that you're not alone and that there are ways to do the hard thing, to do the scary thing, which is kind of the hard thing in the end. And a lot of the time when we're scared about something or when we feel like something is hard, it's because it's new, it's different, and it's asking you to step outside of your comfort zone, your familiarity, the way you have always done things. But yet, on the other side of that is the thing that you want. It's the new goal, it's the new you, it's a new way of looking at things. It's more joy, more pleasure, more money, more time, more connection, more relationship, more fun, more happiness. But between you and there is this hard thing. It's this change. And a lot of the time, hard thing isn't really that hard once you look back. Although if you watched my live stream yesterday where I talked about how it sounds simple on paper, the steps are really simple to become a mum, to get married, to become a wife, to just start offering your work to the world, which is what I'm focusing on right now and talking about, and connecting with those of you, those creatives of you who are ready to step up, to expand into this new calling that your work is asking you to do, that your art is no longer just for you, but actually for your dream customers and clients, and that your art, whether it is an actual art like my paintings, or whether it is a service, a creative service that you need to help with clients, it's calling you to be more, to really expand in that way, to become a creative business. And there's a lot of hard things from here to there. And on the other hand, there isn't hard things. It just looks hard because it's new, it's different, you're expanding. And when you're expanding and stepping out of your comfort zone, that's the hard thing, because we are so used to doing things a certain way, and change always feels hard because it requires you to look at things differently, to see things differently, to learn a whole new language, to do things in a way that your body doesn't want to, because we love being lazy and we love doing things by habit and by rote without having to use any of our willpower, because that requires way too much energy. And so we prefer to just do things the old way. We prefer to go back to our old habits. So I want to share 3 things that really came to me last night, but I was too tired last night at 9 o'clock to be coming on live. And I was like, please help me remember this so that I can do it tomorrow. I promise I'll do it tomorrow. And I need that sleep. And so it comes down to this, right? There are 3 things. When people ask me and they're like, Brenda, how do you do it? How do you find the time to paint amongst all the craziness of children? How do you dare keep showing up? When people make fun of you, when family isn't supportive, when it feels like everyone is kind of laughing at you, or saying things that are passive aggressively unkind, or worse, no one gives a shit. No one is paying any attention. And it feels even worse to be talking and sharing and being vulnerable or offering your heart or being excited to silence. And so how do you keep showing up? How do you keep showing up when you don't feel like it? Because I have plenty of days when I don't feel like it, and not inspired or tired, or just feeling all the burdens of everything else, the pressures of everybody else, the pressures of my perceived assumption of what everybody else wants from me, and my own need for perfection, and I go back to old habits. And then so how do you keep showing up? How do you step into this new role? How do you start this creative business and start offering your art to the world? It seems simple, and at the same time it's not. It's the 3 things. The first thing is, they all start with D, because I like me some alliteration, and I feel like it makes it a lot easier to remember and to keep in your mind, and it becomes a mantra in your head, and it helps sink it deeper into your subconscious, which is where we want it to become, because we want to create those habits. So the first one a lot of the time when people come to me and it feels like they're kind of complaining, because I absolutely get it. Maybe it is a circumstance. Maybe it is somebody else's fault. Maybe I don't understand where you're coming from because your life is really hard and you're really busy and you have babies in the house and you have laundry to do and everybody else is expecting X, Y, and Z from you. First of all, I totally understand. I've been there. I'm going through that all the time and I feel it and I totally get where that's coming from. But on the other hand, if you really want this thing, if you really want to become better in your creative work, if you really want to add more creativity into your life, you want to really connect to that creative spark and have that creativity flow through you and be inspired every day. If you want to be the kind of person that creates that work and is seen as a creative, and you can feel confidence in your creative work and as that role, as that title, as that label, not that I like any of those things, but like as that label of being an artist, of being a creative. Or if you go, no, I want to do more than that. I want to sell my work. I want to see the look on those customers and collectors' faces when they look at my work and they pay me money for it and they love it and they live with it and they tell me how much they love it and that their life has changed. And that when you work with dream clients who are doing incredible businesses and you want to design logos for them, or you want to make jewelry that's going to help someone who wants to be a speaker and they feel more confident and they can spread their message in the world, and you had a tiny part in that. How do we do all those things? There are a lot of steps of the way. A lot of the time it's very simple. Start selling, find your clients, start the business, offer your work, accept the money, work with those clients, keep creating the work, talk about your work, or go on Instagram, start an Etsy shop, whatever all those things are. Very simple and yet not quite. And how do you find the clarity and the confidence to keep moving forward when you're not sure? And a lot of the time the clarity and the confidence doesn't come, and I keep saying this, until you've already started. The first thing to really make sure that you have in mind is to decide. Have you really decided? Now I'm thinking about my 2-year-old toddler, right? Like when she has decided that she ain't eating that oats for breakfast, no amount of bribing, threatening, negotiating, none of that will work. Like, unless you want to torture her, which is not an option. Like, she's decided. Like the look in her eye, the stance and the way she holds herself, the way she will stubbornly stand her ground and do whatever it takes so she can have toast instead, even though there is no bread in the house. That's what she wants. Have you decided in that sense? And by decided, I mean, this is the balance I'm always struggling with, right? As a creative and as the kind of girl I am, I change my mind all the time. But this decision, this sense of solid standing in, this is what I want, this is what I'm going to go for, and I made a decision. And sometimes that decision is like, for the next 6 months I'm going to do this. For the next 2-3 weeks I'm going to show up on my live streams on this video every day. And I know I decided when I know there's no plan B. There's no like, oh, I guess I was really tired, so I guess it's okay, you can miss a day. That's when the decision isn't quite a decision yet. It's kind of a nice to have. It's kind of a, oh yeah, we could give it a go. Which is all good, especially when you're first playing with a new idea. Like, I want to go on a diet. Maybe we could, have children and get pregnant. But once you actually go down that road, there's no like gray area of being pregnant or not pregnant, right? Like, you're either pregnant or you're not. Like, the decision is made and you're going to go for it or you're not. And same with any change to who you want to become. This is what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about like just, new hairstyle, although maybe in a way it is. Once you go cut your hair off, you've made that decision, that hair comes off. And so, obviously you can grow it out and stuff, but that sense of decision, whether in a big way or in a small way, That's how you do the hard thing. Because then when hard things come up, life throws you a curveball and shit hits the fan, and you're like, my original plan to do the thing that I wanted to do in order to get there, like your plan that you've, might have naively made because you don't know what you don't know, and you know that you're only going to find clarity about what your aligned steps that you need to take to get to your goal. You're not going to know that until you just keep moving those feet one baby step at a time forward. And as you move those baby steps forward, you will learn what works and what doesn't work, and you keep finding the next step and the next step and the next step, but only if you're moving, right? The decision is when you've decided, and that original plan, you're going to go this way and you're going to take these steps and you're going to go in that way to go towards the thing that you want to do. You want to start a whole new diet. You want to be the healthy, vibrant, toned person that you always knew you were supposed to be. And not just for aesthetic reasons, but because you want to feel energetic, right? I've been working on my diet and stuff, and it's just hard because I've never truly decided, because I wasn't willing to give up my comfort zone and my familiarity and my habits. But once I decided, it was very simple. It wasn't easy, but it was very simple. I just downloaded the apps and made a decision that I had to check in and do all the things, right? Same with your hair, same with whatever diet, lifestyle changes, same with if you want to become a mother, the same with if you want to start a business, a creative business, right? And I'm thinking about all these things because I'm launching First 5, my private mentoring one-on-one for creatives like you who really want to start laying the foundations to start your creative business so you can start offering your work to the world. It is more than just starting a creative business or let's start finding clients to buy my art. You are starting a creative business, and the way I like to do it is I make a decision, and this is a thing that you're going to go for, and it's a marathon. It's not like a nice to have on the side that you kind of come back to when you feel inspired or when you kind of feel like it and when you feel motivated, because that stuff is fickle. My feelings change all the time depending on my hormones and the moon and whatever happened with the children the other day. But my decision means there is a point I'm focused on in the horizon that I'm going for. There is an outcome and a goal and a dream that is calling me, not just something that I thought would be cool to do, because there are easier ways for me to spend my time, but I'm called to share my art and my creative work to the world and to connect with clients and customers in a way that is deeper than just, oh, Brenda, that's a nice painting. There's a difference between those people who say those nice things, and I love it and I thank you and I really appreciate that feedback. The difference between them and those who pay me money and collect my work and bring it home, and they really have that communion and relationship with my paintings, and I want that connection, and I am called for my paintings. Like when I paint it, and after a while it's giving me trouble and I don't know what to do next, and it feels like almost like a slog, and I'm like, ugh, what is it that you need me to do next? And or like it's asking me to do 1,000 tiny little dots, and it's like I have better things to do with my muscles and my eyeballs and my time. But it's calling me because I know, and I keep going because I made that decision that I want to connect in a deeper way, not only to my creativity and to my creative expression, but I know that this painting is going to go to someone and I want that connection. Even if I never speak to them again, I know that my art communes with them and relates to them, and I love being a part of that and being part of that in my creative cycle. So that decision, just like that toddler who decided, no matter what wind blows you up, in the ocean gales, and when the shit hits the fan, and when curveballs come your way, you will swerve, you will adapt, you will change direction, you will change tactics, you will change whatever strategy you need to do. But your decision to keep moving forward, that's how you do the hard thing. That's how you face the scary. That's how you find that little nugget of courage within you to dare take the next step. Okay. The second thing, I should have got some water, because when I get on a rant, I'm just like, I get really hot and I need water. I would love to know. Comment in the comments below. What is it that you struggle with when you face the hard thing and you face the scary thing? Is it really hard, as in like you don't have the skill set? Because then the solution to that is to invest the time, money, attention, and energy. And out of those 4 things, money is the only thing that you can like get back and like earn more of, to into a course, into talking to someone, into watching YouTube after YouTube videos to upskill yourself so that you can do the hard thing? Is it hard because someone is stopping you? Is it really someone stopping you? Or is it just you hadn't quite made a decision yet? I would love to know what it is. Comment in the comments below and let me know. The second thing, right? Part of the decision making to do the hard thing, a lot of the time, yes, in one way, once you decided, it's almost like there's a switch and there's a click and it's like the lights turned on and you just focus, laser focus onto the end goal, and no matter what it takes, no matter how many different detours you're going to have to turn, but you're going to get there to that place. You're the GPS, right? Or when you go off the wrong path and it finds a detour and then it finds your way back. That's what making a decision can do for you, and like really deciding, like thinking back maybe when you were younger or whatever it is and you decided, like think of a toddler who has decided, or even not even toddler, like 6-year-old, when she has decided. Mummy says no, maybe daddy will say yes. If mummy and daddy says no, maybe I can negotiate in a different way so I can get a yes. You know, like this. But that decision, making that decision. Then once you made that decision, a lot of the time there's still actions to take. There are still paths you need to go and travel down in. There's still a journey and adventure that you need to travel on. And that requires the second word, which is discipline. So I mentioned in the very beginning of this video about how we are lazy and we don't want to have to use our willpower and focused attention all the time because it's exhausting, and we have a very limited supply of attention and energy and that kind of willpower to focus and to choose hard things and to choose uncomfortable things, to choose our courage over our comfort zones, right? And so what we tend to do is to fall back on habits and fall back in a way we don't have to use our thinking conscious mind all the time, and we just go back to what we're used to doing. But when you want to do something new, you have to change those habits, and the only way to change those habits is to set a discipline. But the thing is, I didn't say discipline first, is because it's hard to do discipline, because discipline means you have to go against what you're used to. You have to go against the hard things. You have to give up pleasure for the long-term gain. You have to like run the marathon, not just a quick win. You have to keep pushing against your like natural default, which is no longer serving you, which is why you're being called to expand to a bigger thing, right? Like you're pushing against old boundaries that no longer serve you because you're being called to expand. It's wearing shoes that are too tight. And so in order to develop those habits so that it doesn't have to be so hard all the time, just like if you're running a marathon, you need to just get into a rhythm of it so you're not constantly focusing on the pain and the discomfort. You need that discipline, and that discipline can only come if you've already decided. And that decision where you're no longer questioning the decision or giving yourself a way out means that you then have to focus all your attention and energy on developing this discipline. And when you hit those roadblocks, which you will, where you're like, why am I doing this? Why is this so hard? You go back to, oh, that's right, I decided this is what I'm going for. This is who I want to become. This is what is calling me. I'm choosing that courage and expansion, and that calling me to this evolution of who I'm supposed to become over my current limited, very tightly stuck me. And so then how do you do the hard thing? How do you face the scary? You develop this discipline and habit, and you develop the habit by giving yourself the discipline of doing hard things and pushing against your natural default, and you put in the practice and you understand that it's a long haul and it's a daily decision to keep choosing the discipline that you need to do in order to get to where it is that you want to go. And this is such a hard thing, and I totally understand where this comes from, where I'm not perfect in this, and then it becomes not only a discipline or a habit in doing perfect things, or a discipline or a habit in showing up all the time. The discipline and the habit really a lot of the time is picking myself up when I fall. Not if I fall, but like when I fall. I know I'm going to fall, I'm going to fail, I'm going to do it imperfectly, and still picking myself up and trying again anyway. Making that daily decision to pick myself up and keep going. Like I was like getting distracted and I didn't want to do this live stream anymore. I was going to run out of time, but I decided already a month ago I was going to show up here and I'm going to talk about my private mentoring and calling in those creatives who I know I can really help and who would love to work with me because they know what I can do for you to really hold that space for you. And 8 weeks together of private mentoring is going to be amazing things that can be achieved that you couldn't achieve in the last 6 months because you've been facing this doubt, this ocean of doubt and overwhelm and unknowns and scary and your own default way of doing and thinking. And when you invest that time and energy and money and attention and really all that physical beingness of discipline and decision making and working with me one-on-one, I decided I was going to show up here and talk and share my insights so you can get a glimpse into what you will get and how I work and who I am, and you can see whether or not we resonate and it taps into and connects with that internal part of you. Right? And so then I have to do it. I just got to show up. That doesn't mean it feels easy and flowy all the time. There are many, many days where I have to use up all my energy and attention to talk myself out of it or to talk myself into doing it. But it gets a lot easier because I know I'm developing the habit and the discipline of picking myself up despite those feelings. So not rely on those feelings, to be able to recognize those voices that's telling me, oh, just give myself a way out, and ignore the decision that I had made. And what that does then, if you ignore that decision that you've made, you develop distrust against yourself. If you don't have that self-trust, then you can't develop and build confidence and courage in order to pursue whatever your next step is and that calling and the hard thing that you're working towards. So that's the second one, the discipline. And then whenever people's asking me, well, how do I do it? And I keep procrastinating, especially if you find yourself procrastinating. And a lot of the time, procrastination is because you're trying to protect yourself because of some fear, something scary, something hard. And you're protecting yourself because we don't want to do hard things. We don't want to waste our energy. We don't want to have to use and push against pain, whether that pain is physical, mental, emotional. We don't want that. And so procrastination is protecting you from it. And so if you can embrace it and see it in that way, and I guess this is again a practice and a habit and a discipline to build, to practice this and to recognize that and to embrace it, and to instead of wasting more energy and attention beating yourself up about it, is to go, oh, I'm procrastinating again. I must be protecting myself from it. What is the fear? What's the pain I'm avoiding? And then go back to, but what have I decided? Am I willing? Am I committed? And if I've decided, therefore, what is it that I need to do to develop the discipline in order to make it a lot easier for me down the road, so that I don't have to protect myself anymore, because it will be a lot easier. It won't be so painful. It won't be going against my default because I'm creating a whole new default. And then all these, whenever people are asking me, the third one and the easiest one, although without the other two, the decision making and the discipline, the third one doesn't really serve you, is a deadline. And so that is how I showed up today, right? I have pickup to do really soon. I had appointments. I had other things I got to do in the business and with my painting. I got to work on this painting behind me that you see. And I've got a collection I want to release. All of these are deadlines. It means that because I decided I wanted to do these things, and I decided to develop the discipline in order to listen and build that trust with myself, which means I hold what I value as a priority along with everybody else's priorities and deadlines. And I give myself those deadlines, obviously with a big dose of kindness, because I had to extend my launch of First 5 a little bit because it just didn't quite work and I was feeling really compressed. And obviously when it's my deadline, I can choose, I'm the boss, right? But I still had a deadline. And so giving yourself a deadline, and in a way that you know yourself, just like your procrastination and your resistance, that energy that comes up that stops you, that tells you, oh, it was too hard today, you're super tired, you can try again tomorrow. And it could be valid. There might be really valid reasons for that. But if that keeps happening day after day, and you've been talking about it and wishing about it and dreaming about it and researching about it and talking to other people about it, but not actually doing it for the last 3 months, 6 months, year, right? You've been talking about wanting to sell your work and be like, oh yeah, I really should get onto that, and you haven't done it. It's because you haven't set yourself a deadline. For all the discipline you want to build, for all the decision making that you decided, there's usually a deadline. That deadline sometimes is what you need to kick your ass into gear and get it done, because we just react better that way. And I bet if you're watching this, you're like me and you resonate with me and you're creative, but you're also ambitious and you want to weave your creative work and selling it and offering it for the world and creating this creative business, and you want to create this life that feels like it's on purpose but also full of joy, which means you're weaving it with your parenthood, with your life, with your work, with your house, with social life, with your relationships, and with the things that you value, not as sacrifice at any of those things, which is what I'm working with you as one-on-one clients, to find a way, your way, to weave all of these things with laying and creating this business, is that you understand that this resistance that comes up when it comes up and it's telling you an easy way out, and to talk yourself out of it and to really psych yourself out of it, right? Either using fear tactics or giving you a kind, like it's speaking in that, oh, it's about self-care. But if you know you've been procrastinating for a long time and you want to stop it now, and you are done with wishing and waiting and facing another new year, telling yourself this is the year, okay, all that talking without doing, it really eats at your confidence. So you know yourself, then set a deadline. Know what it is that's going to work with you. I call it painting yourself into a corner. So I know that if I set a public deadline, if I'm working with a coach, so I've invested the money and time and energy with someone, and they're going to hold me accountable, or I'm telling my community this is what's coming up and there's a deadline, and if I tell enough people publicly, I know that that's going to add a good amount of pressure for me to have to hold this deadline. Sometimes if it's just internally only in my head, it doesn't happen, because it's too easy for me to talk myself out of it, because there's all these other very valid reasons of life and laundry and children and school things, and there's a school production coming up, and then there was birthday weekends and lolly bags to be made. Very, very valid reasons. And need to have enough sleep, need to feed myself, need to actually give myself toilet breaks, right? All very valid reasons. But if there was a deadline, and that deadline was made with a decision, and that decision led to the discipline of showing up for myself, for that decision I made for myself, that discipline also then leads to following and upholding that deadline. So try this at home. I don't want this to take too long, okay? Which of the three do you need? Most of the time, it will be a combination of those three. But the last one, that deadline, sometimes you need to announce it to the world, I am doing this. And then, just like you decide to just jump off the cliff, you will have to build the wings on the way down. I don't mean burn your whole entire life down, therefore somehow scramble your way there. I mean, if that works for you, maybe. I don't know that kind of pressure really works for your creativity. You need to find that balance of enough pressure so that you actually take action, but not so much pressure that you squash your sense of self and creativity and any kind of compassion for who you are and who you want to become, right? This is the kind of stuff that I'm working with. If you want to work with me one-on-one in First 5, this is what we work on. Like, have you decided? Because if you're signing up with me and you're working with me 8 weeks together, this is what you get. You get 8 calls, weekly calls with me, so that we can really talk and discuss strategy and tactics and setting up the structures and the systems that you need to have in place. And systems doesn't have to be fancy like corporate with like spreadsheets and stuff. Although spreadsheets are very, very simple ways of doing it. I like to recognizing the systems you probably already have, and just recognizing it and articulating it gives you a lot more clarity in how you want to do things. And that's what a system is. It's just a way of doing things. And so we could be talking about that kind of stuff, or we'll be talking a lot about mindset stuff, but coming down to what is the decision that you've made. When you're working with me, you've made that decision, then I uphold those goals and dreams that you have for your creative work and for your creative business. Then it's, you get 8 weeks of Voxer access, which is a messaging app that it's in your phone. So I'm in your pocket. In between those 8 calls, right, every week we're calling each other and we're seeing each other on video, because I prefer having that eye-to-eye contact, right, and really in communicating in a way that's more than just words. We can have body language, and I can see the way you're holding yourself. But in between all of that, there are things that come up. There are quick decisions to be made. There are quick questions to ask and need input from me. And I know as an introvert, sometimes showing up on calls, sometimes you say all the things but you forget things, or you just feel like you're on the spot and you don't know what else that you needed to share and you wanted to talk about, and it just kind of flies out the window. Totally fine. You have that Voxer access with me over the 8 weeks. Well, if you sign up earlier, you obviously get a much longer time. We start Voxer access straight away so that we can really start your launch call, because before we start the 8 weeks, right? And each of those weeks will be as structured as you need it to be, if you need that structure, because sometimes you need, and as a creative, I totally understand, creating that structure allows you to be fully free and unleash all the stuff and be even more creative within a certain structure, because you're not just creating stuff willy-nilly and just throwing stuff out there spontaneously and sporadically. We love that part of creativity, but now that you're creating a business and you want to attract and find your dream customers and clients, you have a purpose and an intention in what it is that you're trying to do and what it is that you're building. Just like your creative work, like my paintings, a lot of the time it looks like it's just random stuff, and half the time it is random stuff. I don't even know where anything and what's happening, but it does have a certain element of intentionality and composition and mindful, conscious decision making. That's what we're doing in those 8 weeks, right? There'll be topics that we cover, which you can see. I'm going to add it up. Before I forget, I'm going to put it, you check it out in the link below, which I am going to pin now. Let me put that in here. And so we cover mindset work and how to really connect with that decision and that goal and keep your eyes focused on that goal and dream and what it is that's calling you. And then we also talk about marketing. How do you show up, especially online? We want to use the technologies that make it so much easier for us to show up now. But because it's so easy, a lot of people are showing up online now. So how do you stand out? How do you connect and attract your dream customers and clients in a way that doesn't feel like you're becoming who you're not? And so there's the marketing stuff, but how do you keep making the work that you love, but also sell it in such a way that feels like an invitation and an offer, not like desperation and ickiness and like harassing people? Because I don't like that kind of selling, and that's not how I sell. And I've done 2 art fairs where we almost sold out paintings, and I never felt like I had to like push people, because that doesn't work. It doesn't work with creative work. You want to attract people in a way, but at the same time, you have to be able to connect with them, because when you're starting a creative business, just like as a creative and an artist, you are also a leader. And as a leader, you're not like harassing people. To be a great leader, you have a vision, you have that decision that you made, and then you also do the work. You have that discipline of showing up, of remembering what that decision that you made was, and you also hold that space to connect with people and have that conversation. I'm all about connecting and having conversations with your dream customers and clients. That's what we will be doing. There's the marketing, there's the mindset. Let me just check that I've got all the things that I'm saying. Making sure that you're creating the channels and ways to connect with you deeper, which is like getting paid and not just doing it again willy-nilly and look unprofessional, because we want people to know you and like you, but also to trust you enough to pay you the money and to work with you, and then to go off and tell their friends about you. And so how do we do that? We've got to find your way of doing it, and I will share everything that I know and what I've done and what's worked and what hasn't worked. And then also tapping into this community. You also have access, 6 months access inside Muse Mojo, which is my community where you can have access to my creative library of creative resources. How do you keep showing up? How do you face the hard? How do you develop that discipline of staying connected to your creativity, but also to your calling, and also develop continuous daily decision making and discipline to doing the work of writing and creating the content. I talked about this in the Become a Money Making live stream series training, about how you are not just making the art anymore as a creative business. You also have to talk about the art behind the art. You got to talk about the transformation that you're providing. What is it that you're offering beyond just paint on canvas, or beyond just making a logo, beyond just making rings or necklaces? You're offering something more. As creative work, you're offering more than just the thing that they're holding in their hands, or whatever it is that they get in their hands. You're offering more than that. It's connection, it's experience, it's a conversation, it's reminders to what they value, value and what it is that they're trying to develop. It's helping them speak in a way that they couldn't do on their own, whatever it is. How do you create the work like that, and how do you show up consistently so you can develop those relationships and find those clients? That is what we will be talking about in our 8 weeks together. You'll be amazed at how much you can do and create and accomplish when you're not doing it alone. So you got 8 weeks, you got the 8 weeks of Voxer access, you get 6 months access inside Muse Mojo, so that you're not alone. You're not just having me in your corner, but you're also connected to a community of creatives who totally understand this sense of ambition and calling and connecting with your creativity, but also stepping up and developing that discipline and helping you, hold you accountable, because I'll be there for that. If you need ass kicking, I'll be there for that, with full kindness, but with my special brand of aggressive kindness, so that it's tough love when you need to hold those deadlines that we decided together. Still with a big dose of compassion and kindness, but at the same time, not allowing your excuses and fears and procrastination to take over, because we are choosing your calling and your courage over your limited comfort zones and old default ways of doing things that aren't serving you. And then there are bonuses for those who sign up really quickly on training about how to show up live on live streams like this, because it's not, even if video is not for you, how do you show up? How do you talk about your work? What do you say? How do you connect with your dream customers and clients? How do you make sure that you are also inviting people to step closer in with you, to not just follow you, like your stuff, but also to pay you money for your creative work? And then also brand boost. How do you show up when you're just starting and DIYing but still look professional without having to invest thousands of dollars with a professional graphic designer to make sure your visuals match the decision you've made to step into this expansion of yourself? And as a graphic designer by trade and in my past life, I know how to do that in a way that is going to be simple without having to invest too much yet, because when you're first starting, you don't need to do that yet. You're not even sure what's happening yet. You're laying the foundations. We're doing the behind the scenes work that other people don't see, so that when you face the new year and you're ready to launch and go out there and you're finding and already building a community of dream customers and clients, you can look what you want to look like when you are already there. Does that make sense? Like I believe that looking professional visually, you need to have clarity and know what it is that you're doing, which is what we'll be working together one-on-one doing in First 5. And talking about all this stuff, right? The strategy, the decision making, the discipline, but also the actual strategy and tactics that you need to be doing every day. This is the discipline part. This is the deadline part, and holding you in that space and giving you reminders that you are more capable, that you're acknowledging that your calling is for you, that your art is worthy already, that selling your art isn't something yucky and icky and gross and weird and feels hard, but it can actually be an invitation to step closer to you, and that sharing your work is an act of generosity and service. Visual branding and the way you show up and what branding means and looks like for you, even when you're DIYing, is like creating the space and the shoes and the jacket and the business that you want to step into and grow into over the next 2, 3, 5 years, because we're running the marathon, right? So if that sounds like something that you want to do and just ask about, check out the pinned comment in the comments below, where it has some details. And then well, actually it might help if there was a link. I will put that in there. The link to apply, you've basically answer some questions, because it's not just a link to buy. This is a one-on-one intimate 8 weeks together. So we just have some questions. We just schedule a discovery call where basically we get to chat and check that we're a good fit and that I can help you achieve your goals. If it's not the right fit, then that's fine. There might be something else that would fit you better to help you achieve your goal, because that's the whole point. And definitely check it out. I have to get ready and finish up a whole bunch of stuff before I do a school pickup. But I wanted to show up here and share something that was going to show up, show you something of value, and show a part of me and my face and the way you work with me, and to really offer this invitation to step closer with me and have me in your pocket, in your corner for 8 weeks, so we can finish this year with a bang, that this is the year that you finally take this seriously, this calling to start offering your creative work to the world and to really build this business and to really show up, especially online, and using the technology around you to leverage it in such a way so that you can weave your life with your work, whether it is parenthood like I do, life stuff, laundry, making lolly bags, whatever that is and looks like for you, while still connecting and developing a community that you can be a leader of for your creative work, and finding those dream customers and clients or collectors online. And I'm here for you for that. Ask me. That was my reminder to get ready for school pickup. I will see you guys soon in the next video. Let me know, message me, feel free to message me any of your questions to ask about first 5. The information is there in the comment. You can read it through and there'll be a link there as well to apply. So definitely apply now. It's only a few more days I'm going to be talking about this before I close my calendar for this. And this round, it is incredible value because I wanted to make it really simple, and as with all my first offerings, because then after that everything kind of increases in value and in investment in money, and every price increases because I add more stuff to it. Yeah, and Muse Mojo is just because I want to focus on that, and it's going to be community as well. So you'll have 6 months access for that and have access to all the things that's going to be in there. And just as a quiet secret hint thing, something's going to be taken out soon as I revamp it. So you definitely want to get in now so that you can have access to all the things. I cannot wait to work with you. I know that if you are here for a reason, and that you are ready, that you're already have all the things that you need within you. You have access to all the things that you need to start now and to do the creative work, but you just need a bit of attention and a bit of hand holding to keep that discipline and consistency going, and to really find that clarity, and to help you see the forest from the trees, right? And to keep moving towards your goals one baby step at a time, and how to weave it all with all the stuff, and how to avoid the things that you don't even know you don't know. And to avoid the things that you don't need to fall into a pothole in order to learn those lessons. I can share those lessons with you so you can avoid it and you can leapfrog ahead. That is what I'm offering to you, and you'll have my personal attention on this one-on-one on your creative business, on how you're showing up, on your content, on finding your clarity, who your clients are, how to write, how to show up, how to visually present your brand, and talking about personal branding and all of the things, fun things. Before I keep going on, message me. I will see you guys soon. I will see you guys next time. Bye.